it's your girl Shauna XO with Heels to Cleat Halloween Havoc edition. And yes, if you are up right now at 12 o'clock at night on a Tuesday night, then this is the new time for Heels to Cleat, aka whenever it's all random. So with that being said, let's get started. So we are going to start with scores. And let's start with the Carolina League. So congratulations to the ladies of 919 Chaos. If you guys have not heard, they went 10-0 in their entire league, which is so cool because they are also going to be the only team to come to Atlanta from out of town for Halloween Havoc. So it's going to be really cool to see them play live and in action. So shouts out to them. Shouts out to 919 Chaos. We can't wait to see you guys this weekend. Congratulations again on your 10-0 season record. All right, next we are going to go into DC Eli League. So scores from DC Eli last week, 10-24. So game number 1 at 9 o'clock was Dreamcatchers versus Lady Elite. And we got to see both of these teams play down in Lynn Lewis. Great games. They did amazing. So the scores was 6 Dreamcatchers, 16 Lady Elite. Black Mambas played DMV Seminoles. DMV Seminoles seem like they're a team that's like really growing, like maybe they're newer coming up. But 18-0. So congrats to them for, only allowing the Black Moms to score 18 points because, it's a really elite team versus a team that seems to still be building. So good for them. Good defense. After that, Virginia Vixens versus Most Wanted. That score was 0. Virginia Vixens to 16 Most Wanted. After that, Virginia Vixens played the Bad Girls, and that score was 0-10. So, wow. And then, Lady Clan played Savage Sisters. That score was 0-26. And then Virginia Vixens, the reason I said this again, it was like, man, what a drive. They didn't score one touchdown all day. They played Capital Punishment 12-0. So, man, that kind of sucks, right? They drove all the way there and they didn't score one touchdown all day in 3 games. So, all right. Well, all right. So that's DC League. Those are the scores. And then for people who thought DC League was actually ending on the 7th, which would be the same time the championship is for Atlanta, that's not true. DC Eli League is still going on until the 14th. So you can still catch games there and still catch, their league. Let's go into Atlanta League. Let's go into scores for Atlanta last week. Atlanta scores last week. All right, so here we go. Last week's scores were Rebels versus Arsenal. Now, this game was a really good game because, remember, Tigers beat Rebels this season. Arsenal beat Tigers. And so, Rebels and Arsenal, that game was kind of up in the air. But Rebels pulled it out, 13-7. Congrats to them. Next game, X Factor versus Lady Tigers. X Factor is still growing. Team that's new, 0-26. After that is X Factor versus If You Know You Know. That score is 0-18. But big ups to X Factor because they're a team that's growing. They're actually adding to their roster to make sure they stay in the game. And, for 8 women, that's important because, it could die out if people don't do that. So kudos to X Factor for that. Atlanta Storm versus Atlanta Primetime. So Storm 0, Primetime 19. Shout out to Storm because they're still building. Primetime, great job. They probably had cornbread out there. That's like one of my favorite primetime players at this point. If you don't know why, watch some highlights, okay? All right, and then after that, we had Bama Fire versus If You Know You Know. Really good game to watch, because we saw, again, both of these two teams down at Lynn Lewis. Bama Fire came out on top, 14, If You Know You Know, 0. Bama Fire then turned around and played the Rebels. Now, this game was super, super exciting because of this. Rebels won in Lynn Lewis this past weekend the Comp Division Championship. Bama Fire won this past weekend the Pro Division Championship. So this very weekend, they played each other and champion versus champion. Great game, action-packed. Bama scored on the first drive with a run play. After that, they didn't score anymore, 7-0. Great game. Shouts out to Bama, they won that game, but very close game. I'm telling y'all, seriously, if you have not been keeping up with the Rebels, they over there like building really low key. They are building in silence. Like, I'm just saying. Next we have, after that, we had Stallions play Apop. Good game as usual. Stallions 0-22. Okay, maybe it wasn't a good game like I said, but Stallions 0, Apop 22. Then we had Apop versus Aoa. Now this was a good game. 12 versus 6, Aoa. And for Aoa to score 6 points and only allow Apop to score 12, being that Aoa, this is their first season as a team, and Apop is a very, very, very seasoned team. That is really, really good, and that tells you how good that the Aoa girls are playing. And then last game of the day was Aoa versus Code Red, 28-0, and yeah, Aoa girls put some numbers up on that one, so congrats to them. They're looking really good, scoring and moving right along. All right, so next we're going to go into, those are the scores from last week, and as you know, that concluded the season for Atlanta League. Now, this weekend we have Halloween Havoc, and then after that, November 7th is playoffs. But let's look at the standings before we talk about playoffs, and then after that, I'll tell you guys what the playoff schedule is so you know who you're playing. All right, so right now in first seed is Bama Fire, 10-0. Then it's Apop, 10-0. Lady Tigers, 8-2. Prime Time, 7-3. Rebels, 6-4. If you know, you know. 5-5. Aoa, 5-5. Lady Warriors, 5-5. That's a really good, interesting combination right there. Because if you know, you know. It's new. Aoa is new. And the Warriors have just come up and been doing a really good job, and they all have the same record. So it's very interesting there. And then we have the Atlanta Stallions, 4-6. I thought the Stallions were going to do better this season, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do in playoffs where it counts. Storm, 2-8. I hope these girls stay with the Storm so the Storm can continue to build and not have to keep starting over. NTB Wolfpack, 1-9. X Factor, 1-9. And then Code Red, 0-10. So that's the current standings. I'll post those standings. And with those standings, let's talk about playoffs. And this is playoffs, what your playoffs are looking like. All right, so the first 9 o'clock game is going to be Rebels versus Prime Time, and then Arsenal versus Tigers. So Rebels Prime Time, that can go any way, but I'm thinking Rebels. Arsenal Tigers, that can go any way because again, Arsenal beat Tigers earlier this year in the season. However, that was the first time Arsenal beat Tigers in years. So who knows if Arsenal can pull it out again or if the Tigers bounce back to tradition, which is beating Arsenal. After that, you have X Factor versus NTB. That's going to be a really good game. It's going to be anybody's game. I think that if the NTB girls listen to their coach and they actually go to practice, because if you notice, I posted where they said, okay, we got to start going to practice and get in shape. If they do that, I think they have a really good chance to win that game and go into the next round. Then we have Storm versus Code Red. I think Storm will definitely pull that one out just based upon record so far this season. After that, you have If You Know, You Know versus Apop. That's going to be a really good game, but I think that Apop is going to pull that one out. But you know what? If you know, then you know that you never know. So we'll see. And then, so that's basically that. And then when we move over to the first field, it'll be Aoa versus Bama. I think that's a tough game for Aoa, because, they're new. And then Bama is just super seasoned. And Bama's not just seasoned, they keep their same girls. So they have the chemistry like no other. But I think Aoa is going to give a good fight. And then after that, the Warriors play the winners of game 3 and then 1 and 5 play. So that's basically the schedule. And then for Stallions, they will play at 12:45 and they will play the winners of game 4. And then after that, 2 and 6 will play. So that's the playoff schedule for the 7th. All right, now let's get into Halloween Havoc, since this is the Halloween Havoc edition. 8 women. So basically, Halloween Havoc has 4 categories. There's 5-man, 7-man screen, 8 women contact, 8-man contact. That's what it is. All right. So, and I only cover 8 women. So, yeah. All right. So, first game of the day is going to be Tigers versus Arsenal. Again, it'll be a good warm up for season championship because they'll see each other there. This game could go either way. After that, Tigers play Warriors. I think that the Warriors pick up enough good players and they're all synced. They could give Tigers a run for their money. Traditionally, Tigers would come out on top for that one. That's just tradition. If you know, you know versus Storm. That one, I think Storm's going to give a good run for the money. But I think if you know, might pull it out over Storm in that one. And then Arsenal versus Storm. So Storm is going to have a really tough day. They're going to have to be really focused, but I know Storm will get to practice, and they're going to give a good coordinated game, great effort. So Arsenal versus Storm. Warriors versus Rebels. That's going to be a really interesting game as well, because the Rebels have been doing so well. However, most people don't know Warriors actually beat the Rebels earlier this season. So let's see if they can pull it out again. Stallions versus If You Know, You Know. That one, I think it's going to be a good game, but I think that if the Stallions don't get back to their run game and combine it with their throw game now that they have a quarterback, it could be, if you know, you knows, they could win that one from them. But we'll see what they do. And then we have Rebels versus 919 Chaos. So excited to see this game because Rebels do so well, and they are the comp division champions for Lynn Lewis, and they have a really strong defense. 919 Chaos, we in Atlanta have never seen them play live before. And so they are also the only team from outside of this area that's going to be playing in Halloween Havoc. So kudos to them. And I hope that people from We Elite Sports come and support 919 Chaos while they come to Atlanta for Halloween Havoc to play, because they're the only team from out of town. So it would be really cool to have that support here for them. And after that, NTV versus Stallions, they play. And I think Stallions can pull that one out. But again, I think if NTV gets in shape, they can give us a good show. X Factor versus AOA. I think that AOA is going to pull that one out. And then we have NTV versus AOA. So I think AOA is going to have a pretty good day as long as they stay focused and play their game. That should be good. And then lastly is 919 Chaos versus X Factor. So again, I haven't seen 919 Chaos play live, but I do know they have a really strong record in their league. So X Factor is a team that is new to the league, but it'll be a good trip for 919 Chaos, and I'm sure they're going to get at least a couple wins out of it. With that being said, this is your girl Shauna XL, and this was your Hills to Cleat edition of Halloween Havoc. See you guys this Saturday, Halloween Havoc, 5-Star Sports. And yeah, last announcement though, hold on, that was it. The championship is November 7th, and that's AWFFL. And I'm getting a Q to pause to read something else. So I'm gonna okay. Prayer. Oh yeah, okay. So that's what my producer just told me, right? So you guys, if you were not there last week, then you didn't get a chance to see the game where Twin from If You Know, You Know went down. So I want to make sure that we send out our prayers for Twin. And right now, my understanding is that she's still in the hospital. So, when we play, when you play eights, just, got to keep in mind, just try to be careful. And, it's serious. It's a serious game. And praises to Twin. My heart goes out to Twin. She's still in the hospital. If y'all could pray for her. She got hurt in the game this past Sunday. Today is Tuesday, Wednesday. So, I'm just praying for Twin, and I hope you guys are too. All right, and so if the producer isn't telling me anything else, I say producer y'all because I am off site. Then that's it. I'm your girl Shauna XL. This is Hills to Cleat, and that is your Halloween Havoc edition, and I'm out. Bye.